Hi, my name is Alfred Garrett, and I would like to walk you through the automation I did using PinkFish AI automation platform. So to start, I'm just going to show this diagram showing the process of what's being done and exactly what we're trying to do with this process. So this process is just looking to investigate weeks where the total clicks on a page were below 12,000, and then also look into ways to fix that based off an internal company contact list and to contact the correct person. Um, so the workflow that I designed for this is to first locate the CSVs in my Gmail and then add those three CSVs to an existing Google Sheet. Next, on that Google Sheet, create an additional Google Sheet for a summary page, and then aggregate data that we had from step two, and then take that aggregate data and paste that on the summary page collected in step three. And then in step six, we'll create a dashboard and create a URL for that dashboard for later use. And then we'll finally get our contacts and using custom logic decide when to send an email to that contact. And then finally, we will send some data to OpenAI for analysis to let us know what might have went wrong in the weeks that went wrong. And also, we want to convert the content coming back from OpenAI to HTML to use in our eventual email that we send out to the correct contacts. So I have this process right now organized here in PinkFish AI. I tried to make this process so that it makes the best use of data. So there are a couple assumptions I'm making here. One is that the people using this would just want aggregate data or would be okay using the Google Sheets version history to go back and get more detailed data if they needed it for a past period of time. So in this sheet, it is either updating data or on the summary data, it's actually appending data there. But that was just one of the choices that I made when going through this. So in this first step, it's going to look at our emails and get the correct sheet. Um, so I'm just going to go ahead and run this first step, and then that should let me know of any attachments, get the subject of the email, and this should grab the most recent email um, from my folder. So the way that it's finding it is that it's going into here, it's looking for a certain, it's looking for this label, and then within the thread of emails on this label is grabbing the most recent one. And then after that, then we go on to step two. For some reason, it's taking a little bit to run step one. But it does go ahead and run it. So for step two, once step one is done, then step two actually takes the data and places it on here. And here I have the three summary sheets that it places on. Just to show what it looks like, I'm going to go ahead and delete these sheets. And this will also be our aggregate sheet that we use for our market summary data. But since we'll also create that in another step, I'm going to delete this right now as well. So basically, this is what a brand new sheet would look like. So now I'm going to go here and I'm going to run step 2. Okay, so now step 2 ran. So if we go back here, then on our sheet, we can see the inbound, the marketing, and the outbound vendor data. Um, I'm getting this data from another article I wrote, uh, but for the purposes of this, we'll only be using the marketing data, but just so like sort of the versatility that I can use here, I'm bringing in all three as well. But for this example, maybe like if you have like a coordinator that got all this data together and sent it to you, then it'd be a way to sort of consolidate it all on one page for it's easily to track for a small to medium-sized business or organization. So once you have this, now we can go through and this step will check and create the marketing sheet for later use. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. And now we have the market summary sheet again. Right now there's no data on it, but that's okay because we're going to keep going. And soon there will be. So now we're going to take the data that we have here in our marketing vendor, and we're going to organize these dates by the Monday week start date and sum all these different columns. So we'll get a total for each week. And this will later use this to find the weeks that had below 12,000 clicks as a goal. So we're going to place this data on our market summary data. So if we go back here and rerun this, then it updates that information and it saves it here in the values. And then if we go to step 5, then run this, then this step will actually place the data on our sheet. So if we go back to our Google Sheet and we look at our marketing data, now we can see that by week start, we have the weeks from the marketing vendor sheet summed by the beginning of the week. The next thing we're going to do is take that data that we got in step 5 and make a dashboard from it and save it. So if we go ahead and rerun this, then it'll go ahead and create a dashboard and create a link to a file that we can use to access that dashboard that we created. And we'll use this again in a later step. And if we go down step 7, we're going to fetch all the data from we're going to fetch all our data in another sheet that we will use for our for our for our internal contact list, internal and external contact list. So I'm just going to go here and grab the URL for this sheet so we can see exactly what that looks like. So I'm just going to paste this here. And now that we have this, we can see that we have a sheet that has the first name, last name, email, whether this would be like an inbound or outbound communication and is internal, external. So for this example, I only wanted to get our, I only want to send this to our people on our marketing team. They're internal, and in this example, we just have one. So at the end of this, we should send an email to Ida to this email address and go there. We do have another email for marketing, but this is external, so this might be like a vendor who might just be worried about providing the service rather than why the service isn't working or why isn't performing the goal. So for this example, we only want to send an email to Ida, and we shouldn't send one to Marine, even though they both have marketing and same with Peg down there. So if we go back, then this will get all the information from that page and stored in a 2D array, and we can see that data represented there. And then if we go to step 8, then we can analyze the marketing data with, we can then send the marketing data that we have here to OpenAI to give us a summary and some possible things that might go wrong with the data. So if we scroll up here, then we can see in the original plot, we're just going to use OpenAI 4.0 to look at the data in step 4 and give some possible reasons as to why the clicks were below goal and below average. And I sort of iterated over this a little bit. So it's also going to look at an average of the weeks that were below goal and or the weeks that were above goal and compare that to the weeks that were below goal to give some possible reasons as to why there's a why the why those weeks we have below goal were below goal and some possible recommendations. So once we do go down to step 8 and we run this, then it'll give us this answer out in Markdown. So if we run this and we wait, then you can see it gives us this output and the key differences. Um, and then if we go down to week 9, or sorry, if we go down to step 9, um, then right now we're going to convert that HTML that we got in step 8, or sorry, we're going to convert the markdown that we got in step 8 to HTML. And when we run this, it will just convert and it'll give us this output. So go here, then we'll get this output in HTML. And and then we get the same output there. And then finally, for our last step, which is step 10, we're going to send a personalized email stating the with with our um, with our HTML dashboard and our summary, as well as the 2 weeks that were below goal. So we'll go ahead and run this again to make sure this sends. So this can take a little while just because it involves a couple steps, but this time it was pretty fast. And so far we can see so good. We have one email sent. So we'll go to make sure that it is sending it to the correct person, which if we remember was Ada. So if we go back to our email and we go to sent and refresh, then I can see that I have an email sent at 4:51 today, and that looks like the right address. And I can see it's going to Ida, and here I can see a summary of the weeks below goals. So I can see that on 3/1/2021, we had 11,813 clicks, which is below goal. And the week of 4/19, we had clicks of 6,249, which is below goal. Um, and then down here, we can see the summary given by ChatGPT of why, of some possible reasons of why this was below goal. And it also looks at the comparison between the 2 weeks. So observations, higher performing weeks have a significantly higher size visit and new customer logins. Um, so we can like maybe say like engagement and newer customers are there, but this would also lead us into more questions that we could use of like why does it seem like users are more engaged when they first use a site, and what does it seem to cause users what seems to cause users to not leave the site or not continue to use the site. But that would also I'm guessing since this is probably a login page, the new users would also it would also probably give like more credence as to why new users would be coming to this page. But that is it. So one thing that I didn't do here that I did in the original project that I based this off of was I added another step to send an email out, which does seem like it's pretty easy to do here with the connector. So I could always connect this to the Google Calendar and have it sent that way. But one reason I decided to leave that off is just because for right now, uh, I just wanted to show the main functionality and and sort of get deeper into it later. Um, And also, one other thing I would do here, if I was doing this as a real project and not as an example, is I would have these run on triggers. So for whatever cadence this original email comes in at to here. So as I received emails and they get sent to this into this email address, then I'm able to go, then I'm able to have that trigger go in, grab these emails, and and then put triggers on the rest of these to run after this one, so that so that we're constantly updating with fresh data. Uh, and one thing that I also wanted to do here was with this marketing data since this is a little bit longer form um, data, like this isn't a huge amount, but this is just an example that I'm using for this. But assuming maybe this doesn't come in on date timestamps, like maybe this comes in at like maybe this comes in at like the user level. So like if it had like user 123 and they like it recorded like each action they did on this page, um, then this could be like to really like explode in terms of data, especially when using Google Sheets as a backend. So one thing that I wanted to do here was to have have the raw data sheet just replace the data and have this market summary sheet append data. So to show you a little bit what that looks like, I'm just going to go back to step 5, I believe it is, and I'm going to run this again. And this time, so if we had new data and it was updated, then it would update with new data. But now that we're running this with the same data and we go back to our sheet, then now we can see it goes from 3.1 to 4.19. And then since right now it's just the same exact data, we have 3.1 to 4.19. But if we had our workflow running and we had the triggers in there and it was updating with new data, then this would show as then it would add new weeks here with new data. So this would have all new data, and that way we would have a an aggregate total of an aggregate total by week. But so that our sheet didn't fill up so quickly, our raw data sheet didn't doesn't take up so much space. Then each time we ran this, it would just replace the data rather than appending to it. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.